Hello, my brothers and sisters. My name is Tim Heyer, and I'm a dragon witch. And I hope I can give you a bit more information about this dragon's path. But in this case, I want to give you my vision of the dragon's path, and that is of my dragon's path. And that is most of the time what I'm trying to do to explain to you what kind of a thing the dragon's path is, because for every one of us, the dragon's path is different. And in this case, I want to give you my vision of the dragon gods and or how I experienced the dragon gods and how I feel about them. In this case, about Tiamat. Tiamat is the closest dragon goddess to me, and I love her very much. Of course, humanity doesn't worship her anymore. Of course, she doesn't demand worship. She used to be worshipped back in the day in Babylonia, but now she's fairly forgotten. And unless you are one of her children, and that is where my vision is that you are. Every one of us is a child of Tiamat. Everyone, a daughter or a son of Tiamat, and that is the reason why you can still feel her. But what about the other dragon gods? Aren't they closer to you? And that is actually your assignment, of course. That is something that you need to figure out, which dragon god is closest to you, because that is typically dragons. Once you were born, one of the dragon gods actually claimed you, or maybe several dragon god claims you, and there can be an argument over you. But that already happened a long, long time ago. But sometimes Tiamat claims you, or the other dragon gods claims you to be on their path, or Tiamat's shadow that you are following, or maybe you can follow Leviathan's shadow, or maybe you can follow the shadow of Quetzalcoatl. Of course, that is typically dragons, and that is where they claim you. It remains a claim, and that can be that some of the dragon gods that you can still feel the dragon god very close to you, even though, for example, Tiamat is closer, but you can still feel, for example, Quetzalcoatl so well. And what is this about? That means that Quetzalcoatl might be also the one that claimed you, but left it behind because Tiamat was much more higher in this ranking, for example. But of course, that doesn't mean that they are higher in ranking. That means that they don't want to fight anymore over this. But that doesn't mean that, for example, Quetzalcoatl is out of your heart. You can still feel his. You are a seed of Quetzalcoatl, and that is why they are claiming you as well. You are a seed of them, and you are also coming out of the womb of Tiamat. And in this case, that is also something that I wanted to show. When Tiamat, for example, the dragon goddess, for the very first time, the first color that you have in mind with her, when you think about the female dragon, a dragon goddess that is all powerful, that is in the shape of a dragon, what is the first color that you have in mind? My first color was actually white. And that is really how she came inside of my visions and dreams, and how I felt her in the beginning. I felt a white color over her. I've a white, but that is something that I learned later on. White is a color of humbleness. White is actually a draconic color to say to you that they want to join your path. And of course, the first moment that I felt Tiamat, I felt nature, I felt life, I felt light, I felt the beauty in itself of life in itself. After her visit, actually, I couldn't even stand death. Even if it was on TV, I couldn't even stand death anymore. But that is a combination, of course, of my connection with Tiamat and Leviathan. That is the rule of the darkness, you can say. I couldn't even stand death anymore, because what I could feel with Tiamat was life. Of course, she's heavily demonized by humanity, but they will never understand Tiamat's ways. Tiamat is not dark or light, she's both of them. But to her children, she will always be light, and that is something that all of us can feel. All of us can feel the light of Tiamat, and that is why I always felt her in something like a white color. But she can also come to you, and that is not uncommon, with in a dark color. And darkness means most of the time, and for all of the dragon gods and spirits, a new beginning. But when she comes in white, she actually wants to ask you, can I join you? Even though she already joins your dragon's path. She created you and your dragon's path, even though, but she's very humble, and that is what people actually don't know about her. She's very humble and very kind to her children. Even when you are far, far away, Tiamat will not be far away from you, never, because you are a creation from her. Even though maybe you are far away here in this world and you are not looking like one of her children, but inside of your heart, inside of your soul, you will always have Tiamat's energy. But of course, like I said, it can be another dragon god, and that is actually very important to know who the dragon god is who claimed you, because every single time when a dragon is born, it will always be claimed by one of the dragon gods. Of course, I always speak about the four dragon gods, Tiamat, Leviathan, Quetzalcoatl, and Fafnir, but there are several other dragon gods, like Ryu, for example. Ryu, god of the sea, uh, um, Pangu, for example, the Lord of the Mountains. There are so many dragon gods who are able to claim you, because they might say that you are one of their seeds. You are the seed of the dragon gods, and that is why sometimes they stand up against Tiamat to say, no, he needs to stand in my path, in my shadow, because I know what he needs. But Tiamat might say, I know better than what he needs, and that is argument against dragon gods, like, for example, the parents that they are. And that is why you don't have to kneel down, even though I do so, but that is purely because I see them like some kind of a parents, and that is how we should distance ourselves from fantasy, from fantasy things, or from religions. We are not a religion. We are not a fantasy role play game. It's none of that. Really, the dragon gods are very much true. And once I want to show humanity the dragon gods, actually I just show them nature. Nature is, they are the embodiments of the elements of nature. Without them there is nothing. And when you see this, every single child of the dragon gods, they have their horns, their claws, everything equipment for pure perfection. They even have their crown, not given by humanity but given by nature, their horns. It's actually very beautiful when you think about this. But yeah, like I said, this is my vision of the dragon's path. If you have a different kind of vision of the dragon's path, I would love to hear it. I heard a lot of versions of the dragon's path, and that is actually what is so interesting about our path. We just see it our way, we experience it this way, and that is how we take it. And there is no one who should actually say, you're wrong. But that is nothing like that. There is nothing like you're wrong. Even though I might say, if someone treats the dragon as a role-play game or a fantasy or maybe a religion or maybe like a dog, then I say maybe that you shouldn't do that. There are several general rules that you might follow, that every one of us follows. The dragons are not slaves. They are not horses. They are not pets. They are not anything like that. They are very proud beings, and they can be very much hurt in their feelings. So I wouldn't do that. Dragons are very proud, and keep that in mind. They are very proud, just like you are, and they don't want to be treated like trash, or they don't want to be treated like some kind of fantasy that they are not real. So keep that in mind. That is a general rule that we all have. We love our dragons so much, and we take it very much serious. And the dragon gods as well. The dragon gods for us are our path. They are our path. They are the creators of our path, and we take everything serious about them. And the dragon gods, I might not say dragon gods, but they are gods. They are the creators of life, and they are the creators of your spirit. You were created. All of us were created, and that is how I see it. We are all children of Tiamat, but we are also children of other dragon gods, and that is something that you can feel within your heart, every one of us. It's actually very beautiful when you think about this. We are the kind of witch that is very much misunderstood. Simply, it's just the same thing as dragons themselves. Dragons are very much misunderstood, and just as well as dragon witches. We still have carried the soul of the dragon that was born out of the womb of Tiamat, that was born out of an egg, but now we are born out of the womb of a human being once again, and we just need to remind ourselves of who we are. So when Tiamat or the other dragon gods come within, like I said, a white color, I sometimes call her Tiamat the white. If you have immediately, and that is most of the time, that is for 99% the truth. When you think about a color, about Tiamat, that is the true color that she comes before you. And every single color has their own meaning. She came before me in a white color, Tiamat the white. You can Tiamat the white, but very, very beautiful. Goddess, how she should look like. Of course, she can have different kind of images that she can have. Just the same thing as the other dragon gods. They can come to you in many different ways. Just the same, sometimes as dragon spirits can also come to you in many different ways. But especially the dragon gods are amazing shapeshifters. How you desire it, they can read your mind and they can come inside of your mind. So the first thing that you think about when you think about Tiamat, a dragon goddess that you were born out of, what kind of a color do you think of? What kind of a color pops in your mind? That is the color that she has in front of you. And like I said, white. That shows how she is. She came before me in white color, white, saying, "Can I join your path?" And my God, my dragon, for example, by my side most of the time. No, don't interfere. But in this case, he was like, join. But he know that she already was inside of it. But I still need to learn everything. We all need to learn all of it. All of it. That is what makes our path so interesting. We always need to learn. There is no priest to tell us what it is. But it's all so beautiful. If you love dragons so much, then this is very, very beautiful actually to follow. Tiamat is beauty in itself. A lot of people would be afraid of her. Large teeth, large horns, large claws. A lot of people would be terrified of her. But every single child of the dragon goddess, all of us, would love her and would love the other dragon gods as well. We would not be afraid of any kind of weapons that she has, because we, in our soul, in our spirit, also have the same kind of weapons, all made for for defending ourselves, because that is typically dragons. Dragons defend, they don't attack. And that is where, dragons, Tiamat herself, she was not a fighter. That's I had this comment like she was split in two. She's worthless. Well, she's not a fighter. That is what their dragons are. Dragons and serpents and every child of her. But she was not a fighter. She was a creator of life. Creation itself. Everything that you see, even though she was split in two, she didn't die, because dragon gods, or gods in general, they don't die. And in this case, dragon gods also don't ask for worship. We do it out of love for our dragons. And that is how you should worship, with love, not because it's needed, but not because you need to obey them, or you need to be like, oh sorry. No, out of love. And that is what I felt for Tiamat. Pure, unforced love.